Hello there. It is photo critique time. My name is Mike Lloyd. I am a professional photographer in Silicon Valley, California. I've been a certified PPA, that's Professional Photographers of America, print competition judge for quite a while, and I've been teaching this for 10 years. So I'm stoked that you've tuned in to watch me do this photo critique. I always recommend entering any contest or critique where you can get at least one of two things. The first being constructive feedback, like what you're going to see here today. When you have a knowledgeable judge who can look at images and not just say, wow, great job, and then move on, but they'll actually say, oh, this is great how you did this technique or that technique. The editing is a little bit sketchy over here. They may not use the word sketchy, but they will give you feedback on how to improve your images, and that is super valuable for learning how to improve your craft. Cannot recommend it enough. The other thing, number two, is accolade. If you can win some sort of trophy, some sort of best of award for your image, that's great too. You can stick it on your social media, your website. It's less about learning at that point and more about social proof, like building up your own reputation as a legitimate photographer. But we're doing a photo critique today to talk about the art of photography. I'm going to break down a handful of different images, say what they did right or what they could do to improve those images. And there's no such thing as good or bad. It's just how well were techniques executed and what could be done differently next time. Because it's not my job or anybody's job to say if a photo is good or bad, because art is art. It's totally subjective. We can just evaluate execution of technique and intention and then go from there. So enjoy the critique. All right, let's dive in. All right, cool. So I also try and keep everything as anonymous as you'd like. What's up, Rhonda? How's it going? Obviously, if your watermark is on the photos, then there's that. But I know some folks contact me and they're like, I would love to have these, but I'm shy or I'm embarrassed about having my work seen and commented on it publicly. I totally get it. I think it's an amazing opportunity to have a certified, trained photo judge from PPA actually view and critique your work. You can learn so much from it. Also watching other people's reviews, because there's probably things that you're doing in your photos also. I know I've been to tons of events that I haven't even competed in just to watch what the judges say. I've learned a lot about photography that way. So if you want to remain anonymous, totally cool. I will respect that. All right. What's up, Paul? How's it going? Thanks for joining us. Okay. So my first thing with an image is impact. And according to PPA's guidelines, when we learned how to be judges, the thing with the most impact on the score is, well, the impact of the photo. And I'm big into composition. Like I know everybody is. But when I first look at an image, I see what jumps out at me, and then I kind of defocus my eyes. Like I look past the image and then see what shapes appear. And so the first thing that I really notice with this is this fabric here. It is considerably brighter than the rest of the image, minus, maybe the hot spots up here. And so that takes all of your attention to the brightest part of the photo. Generally, our eyes see the brightest thing first, and then the sharpest, and then the thing with the most contrast. And this happens to be kind of all of those things. So we really, really notice it here. And it affects the composition because it's weighted a little bit lower in the image, so it doesn't quite feel balanced. Like we have a lot of negatives, not negative space, but compared to how much this fabric stands out, everything else up on the top side of the frame here, the fabric here really jumps out compared to the darker area up at the top of the screen. So this isn't on a third or on a half line, right? It's not down the middle. It's not on one of the thirds in either section. So it pulls the weight of the image into an awkward area. So I would zoom out on this a little bit more and at least get this kind of running on a third or a diagonal at a good spot there in the frame. But I like the expression. I'm digging the necklace too. I think that helps break it up and add a little bit more character to it also. You know, you got some hot spots up here. She's a little bit overexposed. Throwing a reflector in on this side to help fill in some of these shadows would really help balance it out also. I like her pose. I like the concept of using this fabric. I love using fabric to pose my clients or models. But again, it's so bright compared to the rest of the image. It really draws attention away. And then you've got these like stray hairs over here, which I know because she's backlit there, you're totally going to see those every time, but it's something that can be cleaned up. But overall, I think there's a lot of potential here. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, cool. Grab my little pen tool there. All right, so the first thing I see in this image is this part of our model, which is ideal because that seems to be the focus of the image. And it's the brightest part. It's the most in focus. The contrast brings our eyes to that part of the frame. So that's great. I'm digging the lines. I like the pose. I love that her face isn't actually rested on her hand right here because that just smushes the face out. This is done perfectly. I'm digging the art in the back of her hand there. And same, good use of the fabric. I would have folded this in so you can't see the stitching down there. And we're losing a lot here into the blacks, like it's clipping. So I think having a little bit more detail in the frame down here would help balance out this image too, because we've got something up here, we've got something here. Here, it's just all black in this corner. And the light's pretty hard, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's a pretty soft pose with pretty hard light. And I think having something softer, there's a pretty tiny catch light in her eyes. So that means it's either a small light source or it's moved pretty far back. And that's why we're getting these hard shadows like underneath her jawline right here, along her hair. And I'm sure that's why we're losing all of this down here. But I like the expression. She looks comfortable. It's a good pose. I'm sure she's stoked that it makes her arms look fit. Yeah, again, overall solid image. Just a few technical things to help balance it out. So this image also really balanced. We're on thirds, flows well. A couple things here. Her pose seems kind of uncomfortable. Like her body doesn't look off, but if her feet were out a little bit farther to like her legs were bent here instead of straight down, then it would help elongate her legs a little bit more. But she just looks kind of cramped here, and this looks like an awkward position to be lying in. It's good eye contact. There's also some like reddening on her face. I don't know if it's because she's been lying down, but like compared to the other lighter parts of her skin. And with her hair as well. Usually when I lay a client down onto something, we'll like fan the hair out and bring everything out, or at least like pull it off in one direction. Yeah, she does look squished. That's a good way to put it, Karma. Also, welcome. I know you're brand new to the group. Thanks for joining us. Also, there's not a lot of space around her anywhere in this frame. She's really crammed. So that's another reason this feels like such a tight, kind of uncomfortable image, because she looks cramped inside this space. If there was a lot more negative space around her, then that would make the image feel more open. So yeah, I think just stretching her out and giving more space around her will make this feel a lot better. Also, this is kind of weird foreshortening. Shooting somebody this way, I would tend to either put them, straight horizontal or totally going away from the camera, or at more of a 45. And I know she's like sort of there, but she's more here, which isn't quite any of like the normal compositional axes. And I think that's another reason she looks squished. If she was actually on a 45 and these legs were extended out a little bit more, it would really open things up. Yeah, looks a lot less squished in this one. Hair is spread out a little bit more. I'd bring her arms out away from her body a little bit. Maybe lift the camera up a little, because again, we're like losing most of her here with this foreshortening, and bringing the camera up to a slightly higher angle will just make her look a bit longer. And it looks like you're shooting this at least like a 35 millimeter, because just the way the size of her feet there in the image, it doesn't look like you're using anything long, which is good. But we're like losing all of the outfit that she's got going on here too. This does look like the right kind of platform to lay on, because sometimes if mattresses get too squishy, people will sink in them and it makes them look a lot bigger. So this looks firm enough. So good on you for that. And, it might be my screen, but the coloration looks a little bit off here too. She's got a lot of red in her skin, and I can see the highlights here that don't have it. But everything else on her looks pretty red. Maybe she's sunburned. I don't know. And then same thing, your horizon's a little bit tilted here, so you can crop that just a little bit to straighten it out. But she's also really cramped here. And I know you crop these down to a square, but I think if you would have left some space on the sides over here, it would have made things look a lot less cramped. And there we have it, another photo critique in the bag. I hope you learned something today, and I invite you to send your own images in to be featured on these reviews. My email address I'll put down below. It's mike@boudoirguild.com. Again, I don't use names if you don't want me to. I don't say whether anything is good or bad. I'm going to give you constructive feedback so you can get better at your craft. I've got so many other videos on editing, on lighting, on posing, on storytelling, and a ton how to make money with your camera. So please subscribe to the channel. You're going to learn a ton here. You are amazing. I'll see you inside.